You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show, the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers today, but we have Garrett. What's going on, Garrett?
Hey, Ryan. I got the idea of listening to the other callers that talked about a drinking game making the Super Bowl actually tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
And so it gave me an idea that now, keep in mind, if you're only watching the Super Bowl and it's just you and your wife and nobody else, this is doable unless you're kinky.
Okay.
But I had the idea, my wife just does not watch football, having strip poker and it be reliant on, which team gets more penalties called on them. So I'm Kansas City, she's the Eagles. So if the Eagles have more penalties, more clothes come off. So there you have it.
Huh, okay.
I'm going to be very lucky.
Yeah.
I hope.
I think I'd get in trouble if I even comment on that, but I get it. And, you two crazy kids have some fun. All right.
Hi, Ryan. It's Randy from Minnesota.
What's up?
Listening to your pod on Max Crosby, whether, getting him would be great, but you could put me firmly in the camp of I would rather hold on to them draft picks. I would like to see us go after Khalil Mack. And just reading, I'm sure it's going to be old news by the time this gets played. It sounds like there's a real chance that Trey Hendrickson out of Cincinnati is going to be up and looking for a new team. Because Cincinnati made the comment, we can't afford top dollar players at every position. He won it out last year, and this year is the same thing. So that might be the other option. But overall, I just do not like giving up draft picks. Obviously, I'll support whatever happens, but I'd like to go down the free agency route first. And Hendrickson would also be interesting. He's 30, would add a little bit of a veteran leadership into the clubhouse, as would Khalil Mack. But I would just like to see that, and before we start trading picks or giving up picks for players, I just don't like that idea. Anyway, I'm not, for what it's worth. Anyway, so go Pack, go. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you're giving up something for him. I think, it's a question of what is it worth to you, right? I mean, Khalil Mack is obviously worth. I think the assumption here is the compensation would be more tolerable if you're talking Khalil Mack or Trey Hendrickson than Max Crosby, and I think that's perfectly fair. Same with, and I had kind of alluded to this yesterday, this morning, whatever, about the fact that, if you put all your eggs into the, let's say Myles Garrett basket, you're probably done with free agency. Whereas if you're talking, Khalil Mack, assuming you're getting him at a discount because he's an older guy, which of course you are, compared to Myles Garrett, obviously. Max Crosby, I'm not entirely sure, but I would assume. I think there's a high. I'll say this. I think there's a high probability that you're probably right, that the compensation will make Khalil Mack a more appealing person to bring in. When you look at the value of what's coming in here, minus the compensation. Possibly Trey Hendrickson too, I don't know. But that is kind of the first question is we got to wait essentially to see once free agency is kind of done with and whatnot, what the compensation actually was. And then I think from there we can kind of look and say, okay, I think this was probably the best value. I can't believe this guy cost this much, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, I would rather have the opportunity to go in and get, as Josh Jacobs just recently, and I'm just catching glimpses of it. I haven't seen the full context, but as Josh Jacobs alluded to, we might need to go get like 3 guys. Well, all right, then get 3 really solid guys, maybe as opposed to 1 elite guy or something, you know what I mean? To be fair, I think Khalil Mack is still elite, but he's probably not considered that as far as compensation because of his age. But again, I don't know. I really don't know what it would cost to get him or anybody else for that matter. But point taken.
Hey Ryan, it's Nate. Got another prospect I'm hoping you can add. I'm really hoping that at some point, I know you're going to be doing a lot of draft stuff, but I would really like a hog episode, like a beef episode where it's just, offensive and defensive linemen. Because honestly, I think we really need to build up this defensive line. Like, we got the coach now coming in who I think is going to be a great ad. But more than that, I kind of wonder if maybe we do have a lot of cornerback talent, but because we just cannot get pressure with those front 4, that's why our corners kind of at times didn't seem like they were as good. I don't know. But anyway, Javante.
I would tend to assume, anything's possible. I would tend to assume it's unlikely, just based on who the people are. You know what I mean? There are guys that have never been good at corner who actually, in my opinion, played their absolute best this past year. So, we would essentially have to be assuming that they had a breakout's breakout, like this elite, massive breakout at the exact same time that the pass rush wasn't getting home, making the corners look worse than they were, in which they actually were probably better than they've ever been. So I don't think so, but I don't know. One way or another, they did a good job.
Javante Spraggins out of Tennessee. He's an interior guy, right guard. I think that's kind of the only position that he's played, but I don't mind that. I'm kind of tired of just like trying to take a tackle and convert him into a guard, like all this athleticism stuff. It's just not doing it for me. It doesn't seem to always work out super great. Just take a guard who knows how to do guard things. And I think that this guy would be great at just like not being moved, not being just blown backwards. So I'd like to check him out. He'd be like a later round guy. I think he's projected in like the 5th round or something. So he'd be like a flyer, take him, develop him for a year or 2, and then I think he'd be a pretty good starter. So take a look at him, and then again, I'm hoping you go deep dive into the specifically the defensive line is what I'm really hoping for. So there go.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of time. I don't want to go into it too hot and heavy and scare everybody off, but there's a lot of time between now and the draft to make sure we touch on everybody. As far as look, I get what you're saying as far as, if you want a center, get a center. If you want a guard, get a guard. I will say, though, Packers have been very impressive when it comes to finding offensive linemen, so I think they're kind of onto something there. I think the last time I remember us getting like a legitimate guard to play guard was Sean Ryan, and I'm not a huge fan of Sean Ryan, but you're right. Javante Spraggins has been almost exclusively a right guard, 3,316 snaps at right guard, just 18 at left guard, and 7 total at right and left tackle. And only 3 snaps not at right guard since his rookie year, which he's been been playing college football for 5 years at Tennessee. Very much a Packers guy in that the last 2 years, first 3 years he was just bad at everything. The last 2 years, very solid pass blocker, 78 and 78. The run blocking, not as much. He had one good year, or okay year in 2023 with a 68.7. This past year, 54.4 run blocking. So, if you just want a big. See, I guess that would be my biggest concern is if you want a big 6'3", 330-pound guy, you got to be a mauler. And to not be a good run blocker concerns me, especially when it's like, well, he's a good pass blocker. It's like, well, yeah. Is he going to be in the pros, though? You know? Maybe you don't need quite as much. It's kind of interesting to think. I wonder if size would help you more as a pass blocker on the interior than run blocking. Run blocking, you do need actually quite a bit of athleticism. Pass blocking is more, you got a guy on your right and a guy on your left. You kind of just got to stand your ground. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that before, but it's possible. But yeah, somehow he's actually not even, I guess he's not young, but I would have expected he's older than 22, having spent 5 years in college. But yeah, 22.7 years old. A lot of right guard experience. So if you want a true right guard to come in and be our right guard, I don't know that you're going to get a guy with more right guard experience than this guy with 3,300 snaps there.
Hey, it's Nate calling again. I have another guy that I want you to take a look at, kind of for a different reason. So he's, at least from a lot of the mock drafts that I'm doing and like the ones that I'm seeing, it looks like he's probably going to be kind of a mid-round guy. But it's Donovan Ziroku. I don't know how you say that last name, but he's from Boston College. So I'm like, if we wait and we can get an edge in the mid-rounds who's familiar with, Jeff Hafley and his system and everything, and get him in with a great defensive line and edge coach, like maybe we could get something out of a guy who is being slept on a little bit. So I just want to know what you think of him. I don't really know that much about him, so I'd like to hear kind of what you have to say if you think he'd be a good fit. Go Pack, go.
Sure, and I will. Screw it. I was gonna say we'll do a deeper dive tomorrow, but let's actually not. Let's do it now. So super appealing guy. First of all, 21 years old, which is always a plus. 6'2", 247 is a little smaller, but I'm starting to care less and less about that. I know it used to be in vogue to be 250, the Clay Matthews, speedy guys off the edge, especially as the outside linebackers. And then we started getting the bigger guys off the edge, collapse the pocket, whole thing. And then, I don't know, I'm starting to see a lot of smaller guys start to, even as down defensive ends that are having some success. So I don't know that it's a requirement that you got to be a bigger dude. But he is an outside linebacker at Boston College currently. Donovan Iziruaku. He's got a 90 PFF grade, 84 run defense, 90 pass rush, 60 pressures, and 14 sacks on 429 attempts. That's a pretty big breakout, although he was good the last 2 years as well, 4 years at Boston College. So certainly intriguing. I don't know if the outside linebacker at 247 is completely disqualifying. It might be. But, as you said, he has been a down defensive end for Jeff Hafley already. So he at least would be familiar with the scheme. The only question is, can you get away with that in the pros and whatnot? But let's see if we can't have the robot put us together a nice little scouting report, and I'll add him to my list here. So, first of all, he and Hafley and the crew are going to be kindred spirits because he grew up in Williamstown, New Jersey, and grew up with a self-described South Jersey chip on his shoulder, a mentality he credits for his relentless work ethic. So that's not going to hurt his case at all. Multi-sport athlete, did everything, tight end, wide receiver, defensive end, outside linebacker, track and field, discus, shot put, long and triple jump. 3-star recruit, offers from Harvard, Villanova, and Vanderbilt, chose Boston College for its academic athletic balance. Had his first breakout season as a sophomore, had 8.5 sacks, second team All-ACC, had a dip in production as a junior, and then senior year was his dominant year, led the FBS with 16.5 sacks, 21 tackles for a loss, ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Hendrickson Award winner, and All-American. Strengths are listed as his pass rush arsenal, technique and IQ, motor and effort, run defense and versatility, played in 3-4 and 4-3, Weaknesses, size and strength, explosiveness, run defense, hand usage, coverage skills. As far as his some other little details here, no off-field issues. Emphasizes faith, leadership, and accountability. Credits his Christian faith for grounding him. He's a vocal leader at Boston College. Teammates, quote, feed off his energy. No major injuries reported as far as his injury history goes. Pro comps Nick Herbig, Trent Cole, B.J. Ojulari. His role, immediate third down rusher with potential to develop into a starter, needs strength development and full-time snaps. Said he is best for a 3-4 outside linebacker or a wide 9 defensive end in a 4-3. Earned praise for fluid pass rush, reps, and length advantage despite his height at the Senior Bowl. So, there you go. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Well, gosh dang it. Man, I thought maybe we were going to be sneaky and keep Campanelli for one more year, but I guess the secret's out because the Jags hired him today for their DC. But, man, sorry, it's Kyle from Madison. But, yeah, I know he's good. I thought there was extreme growth from a lot of those guys this year, and I thought maybe we could keep him another year, but he just seemed like such an excellent coach, and nope, they couldn't. So that's a bummer, man. To me, that's the second biggest loss to the brain trust outside of losing Halfley would have been,
Yeah.
That one stings a bit. I ain't gonna lie. So I don't know who you think, and maybe by the time this airs, they'll have hired somebody. But that one hurts me a little bit.
Definitely stings. Just got to trust that, it's not a complete brain drain. Like I said, I believe Dugan Duggan is going to be taken over. I haven't seen anything officially yet, but I've seen several people say that it's the expected thing, even up to and including like Pelissero or something like that. Also, you got to remember Halfley's a big part of it, and Edgerrin Cooper just being an elite freak, no matter who his coach is, also contributes to the, how good of a job we saw there. I'm reaching as hard as I possibly can to make it seem like he wasn't as impactful as he probably was, but he was also our run defense run defense coach or whatever the frickin' thing is, which also improved. But whatever. I was glad that we had him. Glad that our guys got to learn from him for a year. Wish him the best. Onward we march.
Hey, Ryan, this is Nico
from
Idaho. So listening to what you talk about old Max Crosby, and, by the time this hits the waves, he might be a Lion. But, man, if they could just get that guy, it's funny how when you put a name to the trade, we all say no, but when you just say a second, third rounder, I do the same thing. You said, someplace said you get him for a second, a third. I'm like, do it.
Yeah.
Then when you wait, Kraft and Reed? No, don't take my Kraft and Reed.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's easier to give up a pick when there's not a good player attached to it. Now, I'd give up plenty of bad second and third rounders. What about one guy with that third rounder receiver we got from who was I'm driving, sorry, I don't want to get killed. The receiver that was man, I can't think of things when I'm trying to think of things.
Tell me about
Anyways, but you know what? I love the fact that he's like, I want to play. Man, I feel like that's a missing thing in the NFL nowadays. Everybody just wants to get paid. I'll never forget years ago when Kenny Clark, it was the first time Rodgers didn't show up for, the Pajama League. And they're like, hey, Kenny, we noticed you showed up. Why are you here? He could have said, oh, man, I want to get the season started. Man, I want to be an example. No, he goes, I'm trying to get paid. They're like, oh, is that all playing football is with you getting paid? I get it. You get paid, but you also get paid pretty good, And just like a lot of the people listening, I did that dunk for free, Yeah. I snapped my patella tendon for free. So, no one was worried about me when I snapped my patella tendon. Oh, no, he won't be able to play pickup football anymore. No, it was like, go get a job. So So, no, I would love Crosby. He seems to be young enough. I'm not worried at all about his sprain from last year. I know a high ankle sprain is bad during the year, but next year, man, they be carrying all kind of stuff better nowadays. We got all kind of medical advantages. Man, I just think we're really just one guy away from like snapping the code on our defensive line. Don't get me wrong, I want to draft some 500-pound tackles, defensive tackles in the. I don't know why they're all saying we're going to get receivers and stuff. Man, I want last year I wanted huge beefcakes on both sides of the line. But anyways, hey, go Pack, go. Great podcast. Good to think about. Let's hope we get.
Yeah, everybody's different. I mean, I say that everybody's gonna. I didn't actually say that, but I assume that people are going to end up following the money. But everybody's different. Especially the more money you've already gotten, it seems like the more, there's sort of a bell curve kind of thing. Whereas the more money you've earned and the older you get, the less you're interested in money and the more you're interested in winning. I don't know where Max Crosby falls on that list because he's still relatively young. So he could, when you're on your rookie deal, everybody wants to make sure you get paid. You want that generational wealth paycheck. Once you get that, you're usually trying to get that third paycheck, because you can get, generally one more really mega contract. But there's definitely kind of I kind of want to win a Super Bowl thing. After that third contract, the second massive contract, I think that's when people start to say, okay, I don't have much longer in this league, and the difference in a couple $1 million from one contract to the next isn't going to make the difference for me in terms of whether I'd rather go to a bad team or go to a team where I can win a Super Bowl, because I can freaking retire anytime I want and be happy. And that's the other thing weighing down on these 30-plus-year-old guys that are already, I mean, think about it. You're already a multi-millionaire and have been for like 5-6 years. So your life is already, I do what I want, I live where I want, I buy whatever house, whatever cars I want. You've got the greatest life, and that's never going to go away unless you're an idiot like Adrian Peterson or something and blow it all. And, you're going to get another big paycheck, which isn't really going to move the needle for you. So been there, done that, will be doing it for the next however many decades of my life. But if you don't have a Super Bowl, it's going to start to, for a person who can have anything they want, the one thing that you can't have is going to be the one thing that's going to drive you the most.
Hey, Ryan, Raider McCready. I just read an article that Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals asked for a trade last year. They didn't give it to him, but they haven't extended him, and some people are pointing fingers that the Packers might be interested. What would you think about him? Go Pack, go.
I'm glad I didn't elaborate too much last time. So, I mean, look, the guy is he's a real good pass rusher, and for those people that think sacks are the only thing that matter, this is going to be your favorite guy. I don't think I've seen a guy with 18-plus sacks 3 out of the last 4 years. That's psychotic. He doesn't seem to miss very much time. His last 4 years in Cincinnati, the least amount of snaps he played was 732. There may have been an injury here or there, I don't know. But his pressures were 87, 74, 79, and 83. His sacks were 29, 20, and 18. His pass rush grades since 2020 have been 77, 87, 88, 91, and 90. The only sort of issue that I can see is that he's 30 years old, number one. Number two, really inconsistent, which is weird, because usually these guys are very consistent. Not that it super matters, but just, he goes from a 90 to a 50. It's 60, 90, 50, 60, 50, 60, 90, it's like, so it's a little bit less consistent. The other thing, and this, I'm probably just making this up, but when I look at a guy and I say that they have like freakish DNA, like Khalil Mack or whatever, and I assume they can go well beyond their 30s, one of the things that stands out with those guys is they're good from the second they come into the NFL. He kind of broke out in, he's been getting talk about aging like fine wine. He's gotten better every single year he's been in the NFL, with the exception of 2022, 2023 was basically a plateau. But literally his overall grades, 61, 65, 68, 70, 73, 83, 82, 88. So he's just gone straight up. But I just wonder if there's a big crash coming in the future, although it's hard to imagine that he's just going to go from as good as he is to it. Actually, what it reminds me of the most is Davante Adams. Davante was kind of slow going. He was a little bit slower than Davante, but he kind of peaked, and then you're like, all right, he's going to start to fall off, and he gets better, and it's like, all right, well, now he's going to start to fall off, and then he gets better. Now, Davante did start to come around the corner and start to decline, but again, it's a slow decline. It's not immediate. He's not the greatest run defender in the world, but just as a pure pass rusher, it's hard to really beat Trey Hendrickson. I mean, you can, but it's tough. He's up there in the upper echelon when it comes to pass rush. There's no question about it. One of the best, if not the best. So, again, there's a lot of good. There just are good options. I think, Myles Garrett is obviously an elite option. It's going to cost a ton. Khalil Mack, I think, is a great option. Probably going to cost a lot. Trey Hendrickson, great option. Probably going to cost a bunch. Maybe Max Crosby's in there. But again, the benefit is, man, hopefully we get one of these guys. You know what I mean? It's unlikely when it's one elite player. It starts to become more likely when you know that your team has a need, you know that they have the means, you know that they have the desire, and there's just kind of a growing pile. So, yeah, I'd be excited about it for sure. It's just a question of how much longer he can continue doing it. But, I mean, he is a down defensive end at 270 pounds. I think he'd fit right in. Just a beast. So, them's be my thoughts. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Pack Daddy, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
I just wanted to echo my support also and throw down the gauntlet for the crew identification that you're kind of kicking around. Maybe because the song mentions a shield and sword of cheese, maybe you start there where you have a crest that has those included in it, and maybe the Packernet logo also, and whatever else you'd want to add into the crest. But also make it to where it's maybe got Irish plaid colors behind it, or maybe it's like a flag of some sort, or if you're going to make a bandana, that would be really cool where it had those colors that are specific to the crew. So just throwing an idea at you just to get the ball rolling because it sounds like a good one. I'm out.
Got to get back to work on the Chicago crew. I did do a couple preliminary things. I don't know how best to get it to all you guys. You know what I mean? I don't know. But there's, I don't know. Everything I saw was just kind of so. So it's where it would be nice if everybody that was on board was just in one place and I could just hit you up and be like, what do you think about this? But can't find you frickin' people. I don't know where you are.
Ryan, this is Nico. I got to hand it to you. You helped me with a major dilemma.
Okay.
So I hate the Chiefs. And for some reason, my hatred towards the Chiefs is worse than my hatred towards the old New England Patriots. And I also hate the frickin' Philadelphia losers, the Beagles. I've never liked them. I don't hate them as much as Dallas because it's funny. My hatred for Dallas is so big. I sometimes like the teams they play against, twice a year. Sure. Because they always show those on prime time. So I'm always rooting for the, Philly or New York or Washington to beat the Cowboys. But God, I just 4th and 27. Need I say more? They're all scumbag fans. But it's hard to pick who to win the Super Bowl. So, I had the same dilemma back when the Patriots played Seattle in the Super Bowl, And I was stuck because I'm like, I can't stand Seattle. I want them to lose. And then I hate New England, and do I want Tom Brady to get his 45th Super Bowl ring? And, like, and all throughout that Super Bowl, my allegiance is changing. Okay, I'm going to go for the Patriots. Okay, never mind. I'm going to go for, Seattle.
That's how I feel when I'm watching like a Bears Vikings game or something. I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? I'm rooting for the Bears to win, and then the Bears will throw a pick, and I'll start cheering, and my kid's like, "Wait, I thought we were rooting at." It's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. No, screw it. I don't care."
And honestly, my heart was just hurt, and it hurt my soul, because to say I'm rooting for Seattle, it's like being pierced in my side. It's like, oh, Seattle, yeah, Seattle got a first down, then it hurts. Oh, that hurts to say. And the same thing with New England, but you know what? When the Patriots won on that, interception, end of the game, I was surprised because my soul was happy. So really, my hatred towards the Sea Chickens was way bigger. And it took me 3 hours to figure that out. So I kind of don't have to worry about that now because you make such perfect logic. Root for the Chiefs because, you know what? So what? Mahomes getting the Super Bowl. It's better than Jalen Squirts getting one and him being the next greatest QB and who's going to stop this Philly defense the next 10 years. I couldn't handle that. So, and yes, I'm going to root for the refs to be so bad. Who is it? Oh, Lord have mercy. 3 minutes already. So someone just called having a drinking game where you drink every time the refs mess up, in favor of the Chiefs. That is brilliant. Like, if you could patent that, you could just, wow. So I'm going to do that. And yes, I want it to make the NFL look bad because
yes,
we've all had this, a lot of my friends are like, nah, there's no conspiracy, but then there it is. Then you see those horrible calls, that millions of people clearly see, oh, he was across the line of scrimmage. It's the first down. Oh, it's not. Oh, he fumbled the ball, but he picked it up. Oh, no, he doesn't. We see it all the time, and it baffles our brain. Like, why does the NFL do this? I just think that they want to keep a level of control. That's why they won't chip the ball. That's why they don't make certain rules reviewable. They're just an evil, money-grubbing organization. Unfortunately, they control the sport I love. So, so I want the Philadelphia Beagles to take one on the chin because you know why? The Packers have done it twice. You remember? You may. I don't know who remembers this. Packers are playing the Niners in the I think it was the NFC Championship game back in the 90s, and old Jerry Rice catches a ball, turns around, takes a couple steps, makes a football move, gets hit, fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by the Packers. I was driving through Chicago with my family, just screaming, and they're like, oh no, the ref comes in, waves it off. This is the year before instant replay, and that was really the play that made them. Okay, we need instant replay. Because even the announcer's like, yeah, it kind of looked like a football move and a fumble to me. Screwed the Packers, but okay. And then, do you remember, we took another one on the chin for the NFL during the horrible ref season. And then it was up in Seattle, the Fail Mary, or whatever it was, when one ref called it an incompletion, which, how do you do that? It's got to be either an interception or a touchdown. And one of those dumb idiots called it an incompletion, and the other guy called for a touchdown. They both got it wrong. Oh, my gosh. And then stupid cow chud chewing loser frickin' coach Pete Carroll chewing his cud like a cow. Oh, it's a great call. Yeah, okay, whatever. I hope a meteor hits your house right when you go to bed. Anyways, I got a little bit pent-up anger towards that old stuff. So, yeah, I want the Beagles to lose the Super Bowl, and I want the refs to be so bad that it's epic, and it stains the NFL a little, because it's got to be fixed. There are ways to fix all this officiating crap, ball spotting, everything, and they kind of don't want to do it. But, hey, they're there for player safety. Anyways, go Pack, go. Screw every other team.
I think a lot of times when you start talking about these bigger, more money-grubby type of organizations, really what they want is to just fly under the radar. We don't want to do anything. We don't want to mess with anything. We want to avoid controversy, right? So we're going to that's why they get super preachy about certain stuff, because it's like we just want to make sure that everybody knows, like all the screechy fans, they get all upset about stuff like, hey, we're your friends, like don't worry about it. Like, oh, people are getting hurt. Like, oh, no, we'll take care of that. Like, don't worry about it. We're gonna do stuff and whatnot. Like, just don't be mad at us, please. They just don't want to rock the boat. That's it. And then they just pop it in cruise control and let it go. So yeah, I think rooting for the downfall of the NFL in a very overly dramatic kind of a way. Not literally, obviously, but just rooting for the worst Super Bowl ever, for them to panic and say, oh my Lord, is this going to crash the entire NFL? I want not literal riots, but you know what I mean? Like, this is such a big deal that Roger Goodell has to come out and make an official statement that we're going to do something about this, because that's the only way anything's going to get changed. If they feel like they can just ignore it and let it naturally go away and it'll go away, then that's what they're going to do. Also, I would love to measure the bite force of a crocodile and then measure the bite force of Pete Carroll. I'm just curious. I just want to see something real quick.
Well, one question and then I guess a comment. First question is, do we have any information, or do you have any information on how prevalent it is second-year starter quarterback to regress? I'm just curious whether it was injury or not. Certainly Love didn't have as good of a year to finish, at least. Just wonder if there is a precedent for that. It seemed like, Stroud regressed a bit this year, and so I'm just wondering if that's a thing. The second thing is, as we get into, draft season here, for real, maybe this will even air after the Super Bowl, so we'll really be in it, but I think one of the things that makes a GM really kind of separate themselves is their ability to recognize maybe picks not going the way they want, or not going the way they want quickly enough, and take an action. I think, and we're going to learn a lot about Gutekunst this year, but I think he's probably in the camp of having the ability to do that. Thompson would hang on for dear life and hope that guys popped, and if they didn't, it really hurt us. So, like, for example, Van Ness, all right, this will be his third year. It's still possible he could become a guy. He came in very young with not a lot of experience. But Gutekunst needs to do something at that position. He cannot put all his chips with the team where it's at right now on Van Ness becoming that guy. If he becomes that guy and you already brought in a guy, bonus, right? I think same thing at the receiver position this year. It's like, okay, we tried the youth movement, and we got to bring somebody in. If these guys pop, become even bigger, become stars, great. It's a bonus. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're going to be limited what you can do, at the quarterback position. I think having a guy like Willis is as good as you're going to do, at that position. And, we're going to be we're ride or die with Love for at least a couple of years here. So, but I do think, and maybe there's other examples of this, but I do think, and I hope we're going to see that with Gutekunst, where it's like, all right, you bet on the youth movement, it panned out or didn't to certain degrees with different positions, and now you got to get some horses in there because you do have an actual window right now. And I'm interested. Well, I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on that, but I'm interested to see, because I think we're gonna learn a lot about Gutekunst's draft philosophy. I know, yes, he has a process, but even with the best process, sometimes it doesn't work out. This is going to teach us, how agile is he as a GM, recognizing where this team is right now. So, all right, buddy, bye.
Had myself muted. That is and has been the question, and I think maybe even more so that is the assumption. I think we're all kind of assuming that's where we're at. That's what Gutekunst seemingly alluded to. But we'll find out. It's hard because you don't officially know. All we're going to know is what they did do, not what they tried to do. So he could be massively desperate and say, we need edge, we need wide receiver, we need offensive line, we need corner, we need another linebacker, we need, all this stuff. We might even need a quarterback, whatever. And he's trying all these different things, and people are, they're just not coming here for one reason or another. They don't want to be here. We can't offer them what the other team can offer them, whatever. I don't know. So we end up with a decent receiver and a decent pass rusher, and it's like, oh, then he didn't actually, even try. And it's like, well, maybe he did. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what. Let me put it this way. I'm hopeful that there's a lot of transparency. Obviously not during, but after the fact of what all was done, because that'll give us at least an idea of, again, the process, right? Did he come out and say, no, I thought we were good, and so I didn't really try? Or does he say, we tried a lot of stuff, just didn't really work out? Because those are two very different things. But, and I shouldn't, but I do feel pretty optimistic. I really do. I think at least something cool is about to happen. All right, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I got to do one more podcast, and I am just crazy tired. I don't know what my problem is lately. I don't know if it's that long COVID thing people are talking about or what, but I'm going to black out. Anyways, have a good rest of your night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.